the meeting as vice chair. We are your volunteer representatives appointed by our county council person or county executive and entrusted to monitor renovations and additions to our Baltimore County historic resources. We review and approve nominations to the Baltimore County Preliminary Landmarks List and comment on National Register nominations. Additionally, we are charged with evaluating submissions to the Baltimore County Historic Tax Credit Program that encourages the appropriate maintenance and renovation of designated historic properties. Would the commission members introduce themselves by name and county council district or representation? We can go in the order listed on the PowerPoint screen. So Rob, again, isn't here. I'm filling in for Rob as vice chair. I'm Mitch Kelman, and I'm an executive appointment.
This is Chris Weston. It looks like it's in alphabetical order, so I'll go first. Chris Weston, District 2.
John, you're the next.
Yeah, I see it now. I see the list. Yeah, this is John Holman, District 5.
Ed Horde, executive appointment. Wendy?
I think Wendy's next.
Unmute. Everybody unmute if you're going to talk.
Go ahead, Wendy.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
And
Okay, I'm District 3 appointment.
That was Wendy McIver.
and Steve, you're next.
Steve?
Steve?
Unmute everybody.
Steve Meyer, executive appointment.
Faith Nevins Hawks, executive appointment.
Adina Novaes, executive appointment.
I think John's next.
John Schmidt, District 6.
Is Ray here?
I don't believe so.
Okay, and Chris, you already announced yourself. And I think that's it. Okay, thank you all. Now let's recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America.
and to the republic for which it
Stands one nation.
Under God.
And just
Liberty and justice for all.
And justice for all.
Wasn't pretty, but we got it done.
We got it done. Thank you. The Landmarks Preservation Commission operates under the authority, standards, and requirements of Title VII, Article 32 of the Baltimore County Code. We refer to the United States Secretary of the Interior Standards for Rehabilitation as administered by the National Park Service. This is the accepted national standard for historic preservation projects. Our own Baltimore County Historic Preservation Design Guidelines directly reference and incorporate the Secretary of Interior Standard for Rehabilitation. We have important preservation issues to discuss and debate at each meeting. If you would like to make comments, please limit your comments to the specific preservation submission being reviewed. We ask for your assistance and understanding so that the discussions do not digress. As an additional comment, we can all agree that historic preservation is an important aspect of a quality of life and place that makes Baltimore County unique. As a commission, we seek to recommend significant buildings and places for landmark consideration to the County Council for their final vote. As commissioners, we serve on the commission due to our expertise, interest, and passion for historic buildings and places and review submissions based solely on their merit. While we may disagree in discussion and voting, we continue to be a collegial body that represents each other personally and professionally. Just a few, let's take care of some preliminary items. Ms. Merritt, are there any changes to the preliminary agenda?
There are not.
Okay. Moving on to the next, are there any changes to the minutes of the June 11th meeting? Any changes to those minutes?
No changes, just have to call for a motion from the
I
commission.
move we approve the minutes.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, minutes get approved. We have 6 consent agenda items this month. Taylor, could you describe those consent agenda, the consent agenda items and
Yes.
give the planning staff recommendations?
Yes, so the first is agenda item number 5, the Krzyzewski property at 93 Dunkirk Road in Rogers Forge. It's a contributing structure in the Rogers Forge National Register Historic District. The proposal is for Part 2 approval for the removal of an original oil boiler and the installation of a new gas boiler. Staff's recommendation is to vote to issue a certificate of appropriateness, citing National Park Service Technical Preservation Services Preservation Brief number 24, Heating, Ventilating, and Cooling Historic Buildings, Problems and Recommended Approaches, and County Code 112201. Next is agenda item number 6, the Baltimore County Bank at 500 York Road in Towson. Its final landmark number 300, MIP number BA2490. The proposal is for exterior mortar repointing around the capstone, chimney, and spot repointing where necessary, and the repair of a crack on the northeast corner of the building. Staff's recommendation is to vote to issue a certificate of appropriateness, citing Baltimore County Historic Design Guidelines, facade materials, pages 5 and 10, National Park Service Technical Preservation Services Preservation Brief number 2, repointing mortar joints in historic masonry, and County Code section 327403. Agenda item number 7 is the Black property at 718 Cliveden Road. It's a contributing structure in the Sudbrook Park County Historic District, MIP number BA3015. The proposal is for the replacement of a 16 by 10 by 8 wood shed with a 10 by 14 foot replacement shed with Duratemp siding and an architectural shingle roof. That shed will be located at a new location slightly north of the existing one. Staff's recommendation is to vote to issue a certificate of appropriateness, citing Baltimore County Historic Design Guidelines, Fences and Landscape, pages 2 and 5, and County Code section 327403. Agenda item number 8 is the Hereford High School barn. It's at 17301 York Road in Hereford. Its final landmark number 132, MIP number BA2643. The proposal is for the replacement of a corrugated panel roof with a standing seam metal roof, the replacement of existing gutters with 6-inch half-round gutters, repair and replacement of wood siding, installation of gooseneck lighting, and repointing of stone foundation on the east facade. As a note, this project was included on the consent agenda because staff received a letter from Maryland Historical Trust, who reviewed the work as provided by the bond bill, stating that the trust found that the proposed project had no adverse effect on historic properties, including historic structures and archaeological sites. Staff's recommendation is to vote to issue a certificate of appropriateness, citing Baltimore County Historic Design Guidelines, roofs, pages 6, 8, and 9, facade materials, pages 2, 5, 7, and 10, Fences and Landscape, page 5, National Park Service Technical Preservation Services Preservation Brief number 2, repointing mortar joints in historic masonry buildings, National Park Service Preservation Brief number 4, roofing for historic buildings, and County Code section 327403. The next consent agenda item is item number 10. It is the Hunt Schmidt House and Setting, the Ham property at 12656 Manor Road in Parkton. Its final landmark number 149, MIP BA2114. The proposal is for the replacement of an existing concrete sidewalk with a wider brick walkway. Staff's recommendation is to vote to issue a certificate of appropriateness, citing Baltimore County Historic Design Guidelines, Fences and Landscape, page 2, County Code section 327403. The final consent agenda item is agenda item number 11, the Richter property at 5161 Viaduct Avenue. It's a non-contributing structure in the Relay County Historic District. The proposal is for the installation of a 4-foot wood paddock fence in the rear yard. Staff's recommendation is to vote to issue a certificate of appropriateness, citing Baltimore County Historic Design Guidelines, Fences and Landscape, page 4, and County Code section 327403.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone present that wishes to speak against the approval of these consent items? And I don't know if anybody's online, but I'm going to assume that nobody is here to speak against. I will then ask the commission members, does any of the members like to have a discussion on any of these items? If nobody wants to have a discussion, is there a motion to approve?
I so move.
Second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The motion passes. Thank you. We have two items for review and discussion. The first is item 4, and I know we're all familiar with it because I think it's been to the commission twice. So this is the Kelly property. Taylor, can you describe this again for us?
This is Caitlin. I'll do the.
Oh, okay. I apologize, Caitlin.
No, it's all right. So this is a Kelly property at 4948 Tulip Avenue in Relay, which is a non-contributing structure in the Relay County Historic District. So this proposal is amended plans for the ex-post facto approval of a 30 by 40 by 14.5 foot metal garage, and it has a code enforcement correction notice of CB 200085. So at the ALPC meeting, the commission reviewed this application for this garage, fully enclosed metal garage. And then at the June LPC meeting, the commission reviewed plans to amend the garage by installing vinyl siding and adding a window on the elevation that faces the rear of the dwelling at 4948 Tulip Avenue. Ultimately, the commission voted not to issue a certificate of appropriateness or a notice to proceed for either proposal. At the June meeting, the commission recommended the garage be modified in a way that it looks more like a barn and less like a garage. As a reminder, the garage has a standard door and an 8-foot by 8-foot wide roll-up garage door. Following the commission's previous suggestions, the applicant is now proposing the following alterations. To remove 10 feet off the length of the garage for an overall size of 30 by 30 with the same height of 14.5 feet. Clad the garage in T111 plywood siding painted beige to match the house. Install 2 single hung vinyl windows, the elevation that faces the rear of the dwelling. Replace the roll-up garage door with a carriage style door. The replacement door would be constructed by the applicant out of wood and would feature windows at the top consistent with other garage door styles commonly found in Relay. On June 25th, 2020, a technical committee composed of Mr. Brennan, Mr. Kelman, and Mr. Weston visited the site with Ms. Merritt and Ms. Bensley from staff and met with the applicant, Mr. Ryan Brown, and his father, Mr. Michael Brown. At the meeting, the plans were reviewed and members of the technical committee discussed ways to improve upon the proposal. The technical committee provided recommendations that the garage be recited with true tongue and groove board and batten wood siding running the full height of the structure, so there are no horizontal cuts or horizontal cementitious clapboard siding like a hardy plank. The technical committee further recommended the use of the proposed carriage doors along with a single entry door with a transom to match the height of the adjacent carriage door. Additionally, the technical committee would like to see a single 32-inch by 60-inch double hung 6/6 window on the south elevation, which faces the rear of the dwelling at 4948 Tulip Avenue. A copy of the report is included with the meeting materials that you all received. Overall, staff feels the proposal is moving in the proper direction. Removing 10 feet of the garage allows for less of the rear yard to be covered and makes it not as visible from Magnolia Avenue. Although our design guidelines do not typically allow for vinyl windows, staff feels the vinyl windows on the structure are acceptable as the property itself is non-contributing and was constructed in the 1940s. In addition, the garage is located in the rear of the yard, and the windows will have a limited visibility from the public right away. Staff agrees with the technical committee's recommendations and feels that it will make the structure more appropriate with the district in terms of design and size. Recommendation is to vote to issue a notice to proceed with the following conditions: that the length of the structure be reduced by 10 feet as proposed, the structure be recited with true tongue and groove board and batten wood siding with no horizontal cuts or with a horizontal cementitious clapboard siding. The carriage door be installed in place of the roll-up garage door as proposed. The garage should have a single entry with a transom to match the height of the adjacent carriage door on the south elevation. One 32-inch by 60-inch double-hung 6/6 window should be installed on the south elevation. Authority for action, we're citing the Baltimore County Historic Guidelines, additions and infill, pages 4 through 7, and fences and landscape, page 5. And also County Code section 32.7.403 and 32.7.405.
Thank you, Caitlin. Is the owner or applicant online if they would like to add any statement or comments?
They are online, and I have unmuted you, Mr. Brown, if you'd like to say something.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
There's nothing else we need to add. I think everything worked out great. I was really appreciative of them coming out and looking at it and guiding us through this change and process. So we're just thankful they came out and helped guide us through it.
Okay.
Oh, I do have one more comment. If it does get approved, I want to know if we could get a few months to get the construction done, just because the weather has been really, really hot, and getting my father out there and all to help do it, it's just going to be tough.
Well, that's something we can all discuss right now. I'm going to ask if there's any commission members that would like to discuss this, or go around and see if there's comments.
I have a comment. Could we go back to the slide, to the main slide? You show, is that a new fence? That fence is like 12 feet high.
No,
Is that, I mean, is that what you're proposing? A 12-foot high fence in the backyard?
No, sir.
Issue.
Elevation in the yard just goes up, up, and up. The people that came, they saw that. So when they went behind the garage, you can see the fence covers a lot of the garage as land just elevates.
Yeah, but if I look on the drawing, on the photograph to the left, I see a fence that comes about half the way up the elevation of the wall of the garage.
I think that might be Photoshop, Ed.
On the elevation on the right, you show that fence raised up to almost the 14-foot height, which is, I think, a problem. So the fence ought to stay the same height.
Just to make note, that picture is just a rendering. There's no fence proposed for installation. There is a fence located behind the garage, but they're not proposing any new fence or to increase the height of the existing fence. It's just a rendering that the applicant provided to us to kind of show what they were looking at.
As far as I'm concerned, if we approved it, we would be approving a 14-foot high fence, or 13-foot high fence. So I think the fence ought to remain the same. Okay.
It will.
It's a Photoshop photo that he covered.
It looks like he photoshopped a fake fence in there that's 12 feet high, but I just want to be clear that we're not approving a 14-foot high fence in the backyard.
We are not.
No, I think we're covered by what it says in the motion, or excuse me, the recommendation.
Right.
I do note that the recommendation is for one window and the rendering shows two, which I think is fine.
Well, the recommendation is one window, and one of those windows would become a door. He's talking about a door, a garage single entry door with a transom to match the height. I assume that's the door, and when the window would be replaced in the one closest to the garage door, and then the one window. Am I assuming correctly? It's not what's shown on the drawing, but I'm assuming
Yeah.
that's correct.
So the drawing on the proposed mock-up on the right-hand side of your screen right now is what the applicant was proposing for the July meeting. Staff's recommendation is based off of the site visit and what we, along with the technical committee, felt was the most appropriate. So that is why the photo and the recommendation differ. Yes, you're correct that the one window towards the left would stay. The window on the right would instead still be the single entry door, and then there would be a transom to match the height of the carriage style doors.
Excellent.
I'm okay with it.
Any other discussion?
I do have a comment. I think that I can live with that. I think it's an improvement from what is there now. And I just wonder, like, I wasn't aware of this site visit and this technical committee. I don't know if I missed the email or something, but I really like to have gone there and see it.
I can't, you're breaking up. I'm not hearing you.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time understanding.
Understand what you're saying.
Marina was asking about the technical committee. Typically, technical committees are open to the whole commission. In this situation, because of coronavirus, staff didn't feel that extending the invite to the whole commission and, possibly having 10 people interested in attending was the most appropriate way to go about it.
Okay.
Instead, we chatted with some of the commissioners who have seen the project all the way through, and Rob, Mitch, and Chris were the ones that were able to attend. In the future, once life is normal again, technical committees visits will be open to everyone. This was just one of those situations we didn't feel it was appropriate to risk there being 15 people out to a property if that wasn't
Okay,
required.
understood. And they did a good job, actually. I really like what they did.
If we cannot send 15 people out to a technical committee.
Yeah, I know, but I wasn't,
only
aware of, like, not
or
even an
meeting
email saying.
outside open
it's
meeting.
gonna happen. That's fine.
Just keep in mind that we can never have more than a quorum visiting having an outside meeting. That's not allowed.
Well, like, I remember that when was that, the other property that everybody was invited to go and,
No, we cannot
that's
have
like
everybody.
visit. Yes, it was.
Open
But that's
meeting,
fine. That's fine. I understand that the actual circumstances now, like with the COVID-19, it's a little different, but I just wonder why I wasn't aware of.
Okay.
And I just think that, I can live with this design, and I agree with the staff's
I think maybe that's something we can, with technical, the site visits and, if more people want to attend, I guess that's something we can discuss internally,
we can never have a quorum at an outside meeting.
Right, yeah, I agree.
That's not allowed. It's not the open meeting laws. We'd be in violation of the open meeting laws if we did that.
The one thing I'd like to add for this specific item, and I did go out, was part of that committee, is that they will have to apply for their permit, and we'll have to meet all the zoning requirements. So I want to make the applicant aware that all zoning requirements must be met, and that's the height limitation, the building setbacks, lot coverage as far as the rear yard. So all zoning requirements have to be met.
Yep, we completely understand.
I make the motion to approve as recommended by the technical committee.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you for working with us, Ryan.
Okay.
Ryan, staff will be in touch with you tomorrow, and we can answer some of those questions about time frame and things like that. But we'll be in touch.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, our next item for review and discussion is item 9. Caitlin, would you like to explain to the commission members what's proposed?
Sure. So item number 9, this is the Johnston property at 600 Sudbrook Park Road. It's a contributing structure in the Sudbrook Park County Historic District. Its Maryland inventory number is BA 3040. The proposal is exterior restorations to the carriage house and greenhouse, including work to repair the roof, windows, and siding, and then renovations to enclose the open portion of the first floor of the carriage house. The house is currently vacant. It's 10 bedroom, 10 bathroom Victorian style home in the Sudbrook Park County Historic District that sits on under 2 acres and was previously used as an assisted living facility in ALF. The site, which also includes a carriage house and a greenhouse, was purchased in November of 2019 by Ms. Johnson, the director of nursing of Osberg Village, who wishes to restore the property and return it to its former use as an ALF. In May of 2020, the owners came before the LPC seeking approval for exterior renovations to the primary structure. When the application for that review was submitted, staff also reviewed information proposing an ADA ramp and information regarding rehabilitation of the carriage house and greenhouses. Those requests were held off by staff until drawings were received. Drawings have now been received detailing the work proposed to take place to restore the carriage house and greenhouse. The work to these structures includes the following, and additional details can be found in the plans that the commission members were provided last week. For the greenhouse, it's going to restore to original function to be used by residents and guests of the ALF. They're going to replace all broken and missing glass with plexiglass, glazed glass where necessary, remove and uninstall metal clips that attach to glass framing, repair brick and wall planers with point brick and wall planer mortars as required. For the carriage house rehab, they're going to restore use to be able to use site as an office. They're going to enclose the first story of the 2-story portico share to provide additional square footage for office space. This is proposed enclosed space will be sheathed with a hardy plank lap siding rather than square butt wood shingles that are on the original building in efforts to be harmonious with the structure without trying to replicate what is existing. They're going to install exterior doors and wall lanterns according to the plans on the east elevation. There will be 2 sets of French doors proposed in the southwest elevation, 1 set of French doors on the west elevation. In addition of a portico or pergola with a Tuscan style columns off the east or off the west elevation to create a covered porch over the existing brick patio. For the siding, they're going to remove damaged and deteriorated paint, in-kind replacement of shingles that are deteriorated beyond repair, in-kind repair of wood siding with shingles, trim, and crown molding, and they're going to repaint it, which is not under LPC's purview. For the window scopes, they're going to eliminate moisture penetration for each window according to the manufacturer specifications, remove excess layers of peeling paint, remove and repair sashes as necessary, including reglazing windows if required, install weather stripping, and repaint, again, not under LPC's purview, replace deteriorated parts like sash, locks, bolt cords, install aluminum storms and screens to match the primary structure, and install appropriate wood shutters where necessary to match existing. They're going to install new windows where necessary, windows number 11 at the gable wall dormer on the east elevation and number 12 on the east elevation. Door scope, they're going to install a new single leaf door on the east elevation centered underneath the existing wall dormer. In the second story, wall dormer on the second story. The new door will be flanked by an existing window and then a new window on both sides. The roof scope, they're going to install a new asphalt shingle roof, replace deteriorated gutters with half-round aluminum or galvanized steel gutters with hidden hangers and rods. Install downspouts with U-clips and in-kind replacements of missing fascia and crown behind gutters. Overall, the staff feels the proposed plans are mostly consistent with the county design guidelines. However, they feel that it looks a bit too residential rather than appearing to be a converted carriage house. In order to combat this, staff feels it would be appropriate to incorporate some exterior components that reflect the structure's prior use. Staff's primary recommendation is for the proposed French doors to be instead glazed carriage style doors. And staff encouraged LCC to discuss the suggestion and overall proposed plan. The recommendation is to vote and to issue a certificate of appropriateness with the condition that French doors instead be a glazed carriage style doors, and authority for action to be citing Baltimore County Historic Design Guidelines, windows and doors, pages 1 through 2 and 4 through 6, roofs, page 6 through 7, and page 10, and facade materials, page 2, additions and infill, pages 4 through 7, fences and landscapes, pages 1, and then County Code section 327-403.
Thank you, Caitlin. Or is the applicant, owner, or representation person representing the property, are they with us?
Yes.
I
unmuted her so she's able to speak.
Okay. Would you like to add any comments or explanation?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Good. No, the presentation is what we are proposing, and I understand the comment about to be more residential. Yeah, that was a correct comment. So I do like the idea of change with the carriage style doors center on that elevation. Considering that, however, that feeling of door was already lost when they had the new building on the front on that elevation. But I can see already that the carriage style door can actually be a very nice solution for that elevation. That will be the one that face the main house. And I do like to have a bigger door because the concept is, again, is to open this carriage house for as a common room that will serve the main building. So I agree with the comment of the commission, honestly. I don't know if I need to add more. If I need to add more comment, or if you have any request or any question.
Let's put this up for discussion between the commission members. Would anybody like to start? Any of the members like to start with comments?
This is Faith, and I was curious to know if there were any photographs of the original building.
Luckily, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
The only picture that we have is the 2002. That is with the original. The only picture that I found of the house, and it's not. You can't see any more of what is presenting on what is the situation now, except that there was like a tent that was dividing the partition between under the open porch. That at that time probably instead to be wood porch, instead to be steel was wood. There was like a panel, a tent. Like if they want to divide the open space into space, but there was nothing else. I couldn't even find the picture that was showing an eventually balcony that was on the side of the greenhouse. Because in the presentation there is a description in which they describe atop the greenhouse is a roof balcony. There is no picture of this roof balcony except for the post. And that's also is a stronger reason why we like to keep that Tuscany porch style on the side of the greenhouse. I don't know if you can see the on the picture that I see on the screen on my left. There is like a column that is standing there, and that is a wood column. Probably all the column under the addition were in wood, and now they are steel.
I see. So that column was originally there, the column that's holding up the trellis?
Yes, there was originally there, and there is a description in one of the historical commission that speak about a rooftop balcony. I don't see how that was working, but for sure there was a kind of cover on that side of the building.
Interesting.
There are no pictures. I also to Google historical, 2002 picture from top, but the only picture is the one that show the east elevation. And it's like it's now.
Are you planning on any fenestrations on that elevation under the trellis?
I do have the, I did send the proposition for that. I don't know, it's the proposed west elevation, in which of course we open a door so that people can access the side porch. I don't see in this screen, but I did submit the drawing of the west elevation as well. And in that case, I was proposing the same, just one set of French door, so that the guest can access to the side porch and then eventually to the greenhouse, because the idea is for the guests of the facility, of the living facility, to use the greenhouse as a way to entertain, and so it's a very strong presence for the guest. That's why it's nice to open the carriage, the common space of the carriage house to the greenhouse.
Well, in that elevation was actually in our packet, I believe, that was sent to us. So it was included in our review materials.
Yes. Yeah, you had all the plans that had all the elevations.
Yes.
Yeah, the original was A103, the drawing number.
Good, thank you.
Is there anybody else? Comments or questions?
I just want to thank them for the drawings and the work. And I also noted that looks like the windows will be saved. They're going to be repaired and to the maximum extent practical. And I think that's great. And I really appreciate their effort.
Thank you.
One thing that I want to add, and it's really separate from, the actual like repair of the building. I understand this was an assisted living facility at one time, which probably had to go in and get a use permit. And I'm just assuming that it ceased operation for a while. You may have to go back in to the zoning office and get another use permit. It's just advisory to you. They'll have their own regulations, really site requirements that are separate from this. And it'd be advised for you. That's all.
Yeah, we know that. And part of the work is because we know that there will be major transformation in terms of space also in the main building. So they will lose, to be able to be used, they will need to enlarge bathrooms. And so they will lose some space. Okay. Yeah, we are aware of the permit process.
Are there any other comments, questions?
You can make a motion if you'd like.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Okay, there we go. Vote to issue, I move that we vote to issue a certificate of appropriateness with the condition that the French doors instead be glazed carriage style doors in that same opening that was, or a similar opening as to what's shown on that elevation. That's it, I guess.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any against? Any nays? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I believe our last item, I think there was a tax credit approved. Taylor or Caitlin, would you like to explain it?
Oh, sorry, yes, we were on mute. I was talking that whole time, but we were on mute. My apologies. Yes, so that was all you all had to vote and discuss tonight, so thank you for that. Just to report on from staff, the minor property at 724 Howard Road in Sudbrook Park, the commission recently, either in May or June, approved the replacement of 3 windows in the kitchen for that property. The property owners reached out to staff following the meeting, wondering if that's something that was tax credit eligible, and it is. The scope of work did not change from the time in which you all approved it to now. It's simply a different application, and it's now tax credit eligible. Because the scope had not changed or anything like that, staff felt comfortable administratively approving on it, but we just wanted to report on it and let you all know.
Well, thank you very much. Is there any other business?
The only other business to report on is to remind everyone that there is no August meeting. Your next meeting is Thursday, September 10th, 2020 at 6:00 p.m.
Well, great. Well, thank you very much.
Wow, we get a vacation, a paid
A little
vacation.
vacay, a little time off. Well, with that, is there a motion to close the meeting?
So moved.
All in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you, Mitch, for filling in.
Oh, my pleasure.
Great
Well
job.
done, sir.
My pleasure.
You got us out of here in 43 minutes.
I know.
I'm 2 for
The
2 with
world
under an
record.
hour. Isn't that great?
The world record.
Good talking to everybody.
All right, talk to you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.